if you never interact with a community that's facing poverty, or if you never interact with immigrants and migrants, if you never interact with people with disabilities, right? If you never interact with these communities, it's really easy to ignore it.
Welcome to We Move Forward Together. Today's guest is Michelle Martin, and she is in charge of ministry at Molloy University, something so close to my heart. And we're going to get into why and how and what's an associate of the Dominican Sisters of Amityville. Michelle, welcome to We Move Forward Together. So good to see you.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
You know, there's so much to talk about, especially in our crazy world and everything that's happening now. I'm so excited because you get to work with young people all day long and tie mission together and introduce them to outside the bubble of Long Island, I guess you could say. So tell me a little bit about what you do at Molloy, and then what the heck is an associate? I really need a deep dive into that for our audience.
Yeah, great. So my role at Molloy is the Director of Mission and Ministry. So in that role, I work in mission integration in a lot of different contexts. So one is university-wide mission integration, making sure that all of our staff, students, faculty are educated on our mission and how they can help move it forward in their specific areas. I also lead student leadership development workshops with student affairs that's focused on mission. I run 2 service trips to West Virginia and El Salvador. And then I also oversee our Office of Campus Ministries, which does our primary student-facing service and spirituality programming. So that's a little bit of what I do at Molloy. And then as an associate, associates are lay men and women who have chosen to walk alongside the sisters in their charism and who are dedicated to living out the charism in their own life. And so we go through a 2-year formation period where we learn about the order and about the charism, and then we are bonded to the congregation. And now we're a part of their congregation. So it's a great place to be.
It sounds like you have a full plate to say the least. So the people who hopefully are watching these podcast episodes come from all walks of life. I refer to them as the people of goodwill, men and women. And I want to talk about the 4, let's call them silos of the We Move Forward Together project. And that's ecology, spirituality, community, and social justice.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found so interesting, and it really happened in my own life with my own daughter, whose name is Faith, where she took a trip to Guatemala, and it really took her outside what I call the bubble of Long Island, our middle class, to really experience the third world and what's out there. So tell me about why and your experience with the mission trips to El Salvador and the impact that it's had on the students and the people that you've taken to that country, as well as to West Virginia as well.
Yes. So specifically our trip to El Salvador, there is a sister from Amityville, Sister Flor Baruca, who she's also happens to be an alumni of Molloy College. So she runs ministries over in El Salvador. So she currently is running 4 after-school programs in remote communities in El Salvador. And so our students go in January to run camps for the kids because it's their summer break. So we run a day camp alongside the staff of the after-school programs to support and get this kids excited to be a part of the after-school program and to support their education in that way. So we do arts and crafts and music and community service with them. And then in West Virginia, we work in the Appalachian Mountains with a community in Mingo County, which is one of the counties in America that's really dealing with intergenerational poverty. And so we work to give the boys in that community mentors in higher education. So we also run a camp for them, and our students become mentors for them through that. In both of those service trips, what's really remarkable and what really touches people and our students so much when they serve is just the solidarity of humankind, right? Especially when we go to El Salvador, some of the students who come with us don't even speak Spanish. So they're connecting with children and with communities that they don't even really get to communicate in a language-based level, but they are communicating on that just human level and spiritual level. And
Hmm.
so they really walk away from both of those trips with a sense of connection to just humankind, right? And the understanding that we all are God's children and we all are loved and worthy. And then that leads into such great things such as advocacy work for these communities, advocacy work for communities right here at home that they see similar things in, as well as just a desire to do more service and more good. So they're
Right.
remarkable experiences.
It's, and speaking of my own experience as a parent, right? When my daughter wanted to do a service trip, the first thing is it dangerous?
Mhm.
It's another country. And from her perspective, which I thought was amazing, she expected to meet a culture and a community of people who were downtrodden and miserable. There's no other way to put
Yeah.
it. And what she found with the Guatemalan people is she said they were so full of joy.
Yeah.
Besides the colors of what they wear and what they sew together. And that really changed her perspective on things, which carries her on through her life now.
Oh, yeah, that it makes a huge impact. I mean, for us to travel to El Salvador and they're welcoming us in and they're providing us with such hospitality, it's really remarkable to see. And then even when we go to West Virginia and El Salvador, we're there to make the kids' day, right? And we're there to make their summers amazing. But they all they want to do is make us smile and make us laugh and give us a good time while we're there. So it is amazing how generous these communities are, and our students really walk away with that sense of, we have so much that we take for granted here in
Yeah,
our
agreed.
homes, and so we can offer that to people as a blessing, right? And so these communities that have less than we have are willing to open their doors and welcome us in and give all that they have, and we can do the same here. So
Well, I just want to remind people, hey, we want to hear your comments. We'd love you to subscribe to our channel. That'll help spread the word about the Sisters of St. Dominic of Amityville. And if you see something here, please contact us. There's so many, how do I put it? People of joy that I've run into with the Dominican Sisters of Amityville. It just kind of boggles my mind. But Michelle, I got to ask you this. You talked about the impact that it had on students and the people.
mhm,
How has these service trips, now I'm going to ask you a two-part question. How has the service trips impact you personally?
mhm.
And how, on now being bonded, which is an interesting word, bonded to the community, but how has it changed you? And what do you get out of it? How's it changed your life?
Yeah. So the service trips have changed me. I mean, I was a student at Molloy, so I'm a proud alum of Molloy twice actually. So I came here for my undergrad, which was a 5-year graduate program, and then I also just received my doctorate from Molloy as well. But
Congratulations.
thank you, when I was an undergrad, I actually went on the West Virginia service trip.
Okay.
So it did really personally impact me in the way that it really taught me that I was a leader, right? At the
Hmm.
time, I was relatively quiet. I was shy. And I was very nervous to be put in this position where I was to be a mentor to somebody. And that's a lot of pressure. And like,
Right.
I don't know what to do. I barely know what I'm going to do, in the next year of my life. And I remember Sister Diane Capuano, who was the campus minister at the time. She came to me after the trip and I did not, I had a good time, but I wouldn't say I was like, doing anything miraculous at this camp. But she came to me after and she said, you're such a leader. And boy, do I have plans for you. Now,
Oh, man.
I don't think her plans were like me. I don't think she had this in mind. I think she's very happy I'm in this role. I actually took over one of the campus minister roles as she went into leadership, but
Okay.
she it was that idea that I was a leader, right? And this idea of preaching that the Dominicans have, where it's really all about sharing what gifts you have with the world for the better good, right? And so that looks so different. I'm never going to be the loud and boisterous person in the front of the room, but I don't have to be in order to be a leader and in order to preach. And so to me, that was like mind blowing. And I see the same transformation in our students all the time. And so to me, it is so amazing to be able to pass that forward to the next generation of students, to give them the opportunity to learn what gifts they have and how they can offer that to other people, because that's what's going to move their service forward as they leave college. And then as an associate, that idea of preaching and being able to do it right alongside the congregation that has truly formed a lot of my own understanding of spirituality and service is just such a blessing that I get to continue that study and that spiritual community with them.
Yeah, you know what? It's what I've in thinking about what you just said. It's so wonderful. And I can think back, I'm an old guy, so I can think back in my time of those mentors, of those cheerleaders, of those people who encourage
Yeah.
you to move in a direction and recognize what you've got, right? And these skills. And sometimes you'll never know the impact of the very small things that we do for people in through service, how it
Mhm.
may have changed their course in their life. You may be blessed to find it out in the future and in heaven, but it's great. It's really great work that you're doing. And the other thing you brought up too, which I think is great, the initials after Dominican Sisters OP,
Mhm.
Order of Preachers.
Yes.
And I've also seen the Women Preach group, which I think is great. You know,
Mhm.
I got one small opinion. There should be more women leadership in the church.
Mm.
I'll stop there. But before I get everybody in trouble, but it's you know what it's preaching in our through our actions, right?
Mhm.
So tell me, charism isn't a word that is generally bantied about
Mhm.
in the general public. It almost could be a church term.
Mhm.
Explain to me what a charism is and what the charisms are that you like.
Yes. So a charism is really just, in my understanding, or the way I see it, is
Uh-huh.
the teachings and the foundations of a certain way of expressing your faith, right? So, and there's many different traditions that we see, right? We know the Jesuits and, of course, the Dominicans and the Franciscans, right? So these are all different charisms. And so they're the same faith, right? We're all Catholics, but it's just a
Mhm.
little slightly different flavor to it, you know? It adds a little Dominican flair, is what I like to say, with some things on campus that we try to really sprinkle some mission into. It's just a way to, a lens in which to view our faith and a lens in which to center our own behaviors and actions, right? And so for the Dominicans, a big part of that, as we've been talking about, is preaching, but they also have a lot of other beliefs within that, such as veritas and truth,
Truth, yeah.
disputatio, the need for debate, the four pillars, of course, which we talk a lot about here on campus, of spirituality, community, service, and study. And Molloy use slightly different words than the sisters do in their mother house. The sisters might have said other some mission and prayer when they talk about them. So all of that is part of the charism that kind of moves us forward and informs, what we do.
Very interesting. Now let me throw you a curveball because I
Hmm.
tend to do that, and I'm sports agnostic. I know it exists, so I'm not going to use any sports analogies. But if I stereotype a college student today, I
Hmm.
would think they were very self-centered as a general thing. Hey, you know, they're trying to figure out what they're doing in life. They're studying. They're talking about their future, and yet what I think in our faith with Christians as we look to service of others, how important it is to get out of ourselves and to experience people have less than us, people have different skills than us, and be in service. And I got to tell you this because I saw it in your email and it really hit me. You sign off on your emails with gratitude.
Yeah.
Kudos to that. It's a simple thing, right? And I'm yapping too much, which I usually do. But tell me the challenges you have on those focused on their future and their studies to look outward, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah, of course that, and I don't know if that is particular to this generation, because I think the
Okay.
same could have been said when I was in college of, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so if you don't experience, I'm going to say, like, how the other half live, like if you never interact with a community that's facing poverty, or if you never interact with immigrants and migrants, if you never interact with people with disabilities, right? If you never interact with these communities, it's really easy to ignore it and to
Mm-hmm.
say it doesn't matter because it's not impacting me. And so what is so important for our students and what the opportunities we try to give is for them to learn about what other people are experiencing and how they can possibly help, you know? And so, of course, it can be a challenge. They are focused on academics. They have limited time. Even the ones who really want to go and serve sometimes can't based on their schedules or their part-time jobs outside school or family demands. But so providing as many opportunities as we can for active service. The other thing is, especially the generation now that's in college, they are
Mm-hmm.
amazing advocates. I mean, they advocate like there is no tomorrow. So, any type of dialogue that we can have, any opportunity for them to share their experiences as well as advocate for others really connects with this community. So, part of it is also bringing the other pieces into it, right? If we're going to advocate and if we're going to serve, you do have to study. You have to know what these communities need
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
what we're really advocating for, right? You have to have spirituality where you pray on it and you discern like where are you being called, right? Because I can't advocate for everything and serve everyone. I don't have the resources, I don't have the time, I don't have the ability to fix everything. So there's a part of spirituality of what are you specifically called to serve and to do. And then of course the community of meeting the people in that space and getting to know them. So it all kind of comes together, which is what we try to teach our students here at Molloy is that you know, you have to go out and experience it in order to serve the people that you're going to serve, right? When they become nurses and teachers and all other majors, they're going to be interacting with people from all walks of life. And so in order to serve them well, you need to know them well.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. In fact, there's an episode, which is probably be out by the time your episode is broadcast, where I've spoken to Dr. Kubek,
Mhm.
who used to be the former head of Catholic Charities. And it reminded me that he had a great initiative talking to the, I think he had 100 parishes at that point to say, hey, we have all these outreach um, offices and ministries in the different parishes, and they work to train the people to educate them on why somebody's coming to a food pantry and to go a little bit deeper to understand how you can help somebody instead of just a handout. It's not proper to say handout, but a hand up. You know,
Mhm.
what are other ways that we can serve you? Tell me something. We talked about wanting to serve an accompaniment. In your doctoral or maybe thesis, you did justice oriented accompaniment.
Mhm.
You want to expand upon that if you can for me? Kind of
Yes,
elevator pitch it for me, if you will.
of course. So this was my doctorate research was looking at leadership from a spiritual lens. So there's a theory called spiritual leadership, but it was originally made for really corporations. So I took that theory as a general basis and I really looked at the Catholic ideas of accompaniment as
Okay.
well as Dominican leadership models. And I looked at what that kind of leadership would look like and how do our students and alumni who serve express that form of leadership. So that looks accompaniment means like walking alongside somebody instead of leading from an authoritative stance. You're choosing to walk alongside them. And sometimes that means, you know, if we're walking together, sometimes I'm going to lead and sometimes the other person's going to lead. And what
Hmm.
does that look like for our students and alumni?
That's great. Well, you did very well, doctor,
Thank you.
making me understand understand these things. So, one of Malloy's guiding virtues is searching for truth and open to each other's truth. So, I guess that gets into active listening. Tell me how you help people do that at Malloy.
Yeah, so actually our campus minister, Mike Malinowski, Dr. Mike Malinowski, I should say, because he also just graduated with his doctorate.
Doc, all right, Dr. Mike, Dr. Michelle. Got
Yeah,
it.
he um he works with an organization from Interfaith America and they have a program called Bridging the Gap. So he has been trained in this and has brought this to our community in multiple ways. And so, what this is all about is exactly that, it's teaching active listening and dialogue skills to students so that they can have a conversation about different perspectives without necessarily feeling like they have to water down their perspective. So how can we communicate in a healthy, mature, respectful way and hear both sides to gain a greater understanding, right? Because in that Dominican way, that truth, it comes from hearing both sides of the story and knowing kind of what it reveals to us in both ways.
I really appreciate your time on We Move Forward Together. Again, anyone who's watching, you want to find out more, just send an email to info@umft.org and we'll get you connected. There are so many great stories here. Please subscribe to the channel. And Michelle, thank you so much for your time. And most importantly, thank you for being such a great preacher and spreading the gospel in the work that you do at Molloy University.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Be well, everybody. Until next time, God bless. We'll see you.